What's up, everybody? This is Logan Hanks with the Living Fully Loaded podcast. Got an awesome episode for you. It is part 3 of The American Farmer with Bobby Lee. Welcome back.
Hey, glad to be here.
I know this is a familiar territory for you. You'll be here in about 2 days.
Yeah. I sit here, a little different drinking hand for this one.
Yeah, yeah.
We record our other one at usually around 4:30 a.m. So what are we, about 9:30 p.m.? So
Yeah.
little different beverage, but
Yep, we actually got some stuff. I just recently got this too. It's called Smoke Wagon. The bottle was so freaking cool looking, I had to try it.
I'm a sucker for that sometimes.
Yeah.
Same way, like on a bottle of wine or anything, the labels get me sometimes.
Yeah.
Cool names.
Yeah, what is it, the 19 Crimes is always one that's kind of appealed to me a little bit because they'll even talk to you.
I'm trying to think which. Okay, yeah, I know which that one.
Like if you drink a bunch of them, you look at it, it'll start talking to you.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm just kidding. You hold your phone up there. There's some app, and the dude will
Okay.
start moving, and it tells you his story.
That's an Australian wine, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not that big into the wine.
Okay.
I just know that's a Vegas bourbon.
It is. Yeah, I drank a little wine tonight. We had some spaghetti, so
You just went all Italian.
Italian treat. Sorry.
Well, this is pretty hot. And so this was bottled in January. I think I bought this probably in February, so pretty close to the bottle date. 56.35%. So what is that, like 110 or something proof?
56.5 be 113. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
But
to be that hot, it's really smooth.
it's good bourbon. Like I've enjoyed it, and like I said, the bottle's pretty awesome. It's uncut and unfiltered, so I like some heat on the bourbon a little bit. And that one's got the heat, but it ain't like kicking you in the teeth.
No, not at all.
So Bobby Lee has been on here. I ain't gonna ask him the general questions because I'll ask you one. I will ask you one question.
All right.
Which one would you prefer? A zombie apocalypse
Yes.
or the Terminator scenario, the cyborgs?
See, as an avid listener, I've heard you ask that. What you've just done that one.
Just
for
a
the
couple.
last
It's kind
2
of
or
a
3
newer
guests.
ones, yeah.
So I'm not really a big like zombie like movie. Like I've never watched The Walking Dead.
But have you seen World War Z?
I don't think I have.
Oh man, yeah, we got to
Like I've seen what's the one with Woody Harrelson?
Zombieland.
Zombieland. I've seen that one.
Yeah.
But are there multiple Zombielands now?
I think there's they might even have a third one coming out.
Okay. I've seen I guess I Am Legend. Those are zombies, right?
Yeah, they're pretty bad now in that one.
Yeah. But I've never really been into like the cyborg stuff. But I think I can say. So which one would I rather take
Yeah,
on?
if you had to, if one of the two is going to happen.
I think I'd rather take on the zombies.
Yeah.
I think it's now apparently the World War Z zombies are much.
Yeah.
They're the souped up version.
I can mute this so that the copywriters won't get us, but I'll try to find a scene.
As I just think about like the cyborgs and like how scary, how scary I am, or scared I am just having my phone out when the damn government is listening to and everybody else. And, you know, I've read enough of the Edward Snowden book to know how much, and like the way that the cyborgs could use that technology against us, like there'd be no hiding from them. There'd be,
That's my thing.
literally there's no, you can run, but you can't hide. Like that's what would, I think that's where I have to say the zombies.
That's one of my biggest things with them. All right, here is some of the World War Z.
Depending on how advanced they are, like they're literally like, hell,
Well, look how these jokers do.
Couldn't they like drone strike you or whatever? I'm not big into like that whole sci-fi scene, so I don't.
Man, yeah, which I like. See, these are the zombies. Like,
Is this a relatively new movie?
A few years old. Yeah, it's not too bad. Brad Pitt is in it. I mean, which Brad Pitt's my homie, man. I like Brad Pitt.
You know, I think I've answered your previous question, like who would play me in a movie. Like it'd definitely be Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, we look just alike.
That is true. It's uncanny.
Different face. And he has more hair and
yeah,
you know, that kind of thing.
A lot of different features, but very similar.
But other than that, we look the same. So no.
Are they running or anything in that one?
I don't know. I can't pay attention to that.
Man,
I'd be way too distracted.
They're I mean, there's a scene in World War Z where there's like because Brad Pitt essentially has, okay, here you can see him running. All right, look at them. That's all the zombies just pouring over this freaking bus.
Yeah, they're not like
They ain't the slow like.
They're not the Zombieland zombies.
No, yeah, they're hell on wheels and.
Well, and that's where I think, yeah, because the whole like the idea. I mean, again, reading the Edward Snowden book, just in how like they can surveil you. I mean, and I don't fully understand like the whole idea of a cyborg, but I'm assuming they have like all the technology and then some, and like yeah, that just.
Well, you've seen the Terminator.
I have. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I have so many movies I need to see.
Well,
I keep thinking because like last summer when I had COVID and I was down pretty bad with it for about I had to stay home for 10 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was so damn bored because I couldn't do nothing. I wasn't like those people that were like, oh yeah, I was fine in a day or two. I just laid around the house for a while and I ran out of stuff to watch. And
man, I should have sent you a list.
Now like I've got this list of like all these movies and TV shows that I'd like to watch. Like, why could I not have thought of any of this when I was?
Yeah.
Because now I have zero time to watch anything.
Yeah.
Like my wife and I are so far behind on the 2 or 3 TV shows we watch. I have to be careful. When people start talking about something, I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No spoiler.
Well, that you hit a nail on the head on the cyborgs though. That's because I had a buddy that he said that he would prefer the cyborgs. And I'm like, first off, what weapon are you going to use? Like as much ammunition as I have.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like you would feel it would just be a situation where it'd be like, all right, They're
just going to kill me.
I'll
yeah.
Just die. I mean, death is not the worst thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
and like you said too, I mean, they could, a zombie, I could like board up a place and kind of hide and be quiet. Maybe they won't find me. But a cyborg, I feel like them dudes their eyes, they could probably like scan through the walls and just find me.
Yeah, and like you don't even know. I don't feel like we could, depending on how advanced they are.
The technology,
like their technology may be so far advanced that we don't even fully comprehend what they're capable of. And I mean,
yeah,
I feel like just the fear of not knowing what they could be doing would drive you to the point of taking your own life. Like you just be like, I can't live like this.
Yeah.
Whereas with the zombies, you're at least got a little bit of an idea. Like, all right, I've got a fighting chance here.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm definitely in the camp of wanting the zombies if I had to pick. Just I don't know, man. And I love the Terminator, but like there's something, I always talk about that scene in the Terminator. I remember even as a kid, which I laugh now because I watched Terminator as a kid. And I mean, my mom was very strict on what I could watch or not.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't guess she probably ever watched Terminator. And Dad would let me watch Terminator. So, like, because that might have been the first set of boobs I ever saw was in Terminator because there is a sex scene.
See, I don't even remember boobs in Terminator.
Yeah, I mean they're relatively forgettable set of boobs in that one.
Okay.
But Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese, they do some cracking, and in that one, but they cuss some. But anyways, at the end of the film, man, he gets they blow up the big truck that he's in, and I was so annoyed because Kyle and Sarah run over and they embrace. And it's like this flaming inferno behind them. And it's right where the Terminator was. And they're just standing there embracing and like kiss each other and are like, thank God we're alive. And they just keep standing there. And then all of a sudden the music is like, dun, 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 and like this, you see this thing start coming up out of the fire, and it's the Terminator, and all his skin is gone, and he's just this like horrifying looking cyborg.
Yeah.
And that part used to like give me nightmares, like because he chases her, and I mean it's a menacing looking dude.
Yeah, and I just
so yeah, they would be to me. It would be more frightening to me if we got done recording this and I walked outside. If I had to walk out and see like a rotten dude walking towards me, or I saw like an all metal cyborg like that coming at me, I would prefer to see the zombie.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I like I say it bothers me and scares me how much, again, just the NSA is listening and surveilling everything we do. And we know anything associated with the government is so effing incompetent that if you had an actual, like, evil, I was wondering, where do the cyborgs even come from? Like another planet? Or?
I think, no, somebody built them here. It was Skynet. They built them here.
Whoever it is that built them will be more competent than our government.
Yeah.
And so.
But see, I think they get killed. Because basically they built a thing, an AI that could think.
Yeah.
And then it outsmarts them. And that's what's going to happen right now.
Freaking things now. You see these robots and shit. And I'm like, y'all hadn't watched enough TV.
Don't they claim in like 10 years you'll see robots in people's homes?
I don't know.
That's like, I think they claim that that's where within like it's either 10 or 20 year time span, people will have like robots, because there's actually, they even said sex robots is the new thing.
Oh, well, I've heard of that, like in like Japan or wherever.
Yeah,
I've even heard, I've heard, you could say that about all sorts of stupid stuff, but that they're worried. I don't remember if it was in China or Japan, but that it's actually affecting like their birth rates, and they're worried about their younger generation aren't getting out and like actually dating and.
They're just staying at home with the robot.
Hell yeah, they got their robot. What do they need? But yeah, that's weird as hell. Like that's the kind of stuff. And I mean, I'm sure it's probably for everybody our age with kids. Like that's the kind of stuff that scares me for like my kids in the future.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man,
we're raising the John Connors.
Well, and yeah, like I want my kid to be the weirdo at school.
I do too. Like, that's exactly what I've said.
They're like isn't into, and like hell. My kids are like both just zoned in on their iPad, so I don't know that I'm doing that good of a job of it, But yeah, I don't know. It's where I want to sell all my crap and move off the grid. And here I am, somebody that if you ask anybody I work with, I'm all day long. If I'm not with a client, I'm staring at my phone screen doing something stupid on it. So I've been a bit of a hypocrite there, I guess.
Oh, I'm the same way. I mean, if I fantasize about going off grid, but I'm watching like videos of that
watching
one dude.
YouTube videos of going off grid.
Yes, yeah. Or the guy that's that I've been sending lately, the kind of fat dude with the little neck beard.
Oh yeah,
dude, that guy is my favorite.
You
right
send
now.
me all those. I've already seen them all. He's pretty funny.
He is. But I don't know, man. It is weird, and I'm the same way. I said I want my kids to be the weirdos in school, but I definitely wonder, like it's kind of like I've got a suppressor ordered, and to do that, you have to like do your fingerprints. I had to do all 10 fingerprints. I had to sign a thing basically saying that like the ATF can just enter my home at any time in order to legally own a suppressor. And some people were like, man, I just can't believe you would do that. And I'm like, in all honesty, they could do that shit anyways. Like the way the world is around here today, I think they would come in if they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be public information. We're recording, so I'm kind of measuring what I want to respond.
There's I have thought of
when I took the handgun course, when I took to be certified to
you had to do fingerprints then,
right? You did,
yeah.
But the whole thing was like nobody wants to shoot and kill anyone.
Yeah.
Well, let's put that out there. But like, when are you justified in actually pulling your handgun on someone? And they said when. In like the whole scenario of somebody like tries to carjack you at the grocery store and they pull you out of your car, jump in it and drive away. You can't pull out your gun and shoot them because your life is not, they're just taking your car.
Yeah.
But the intent to harm you is immediately implied when they enter your home. So I don't know, man. You come enter my home.
Oh, no, I get you.
You better have a damn good reason to be there. And look, I don't want to shoot somebody coming in my house, for legitimate reasons.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you work for some ABC government agency, you better have a damn good reason.
Oh yeah, I am definitely with you. But that's
I don't know. I used to think extremists and all were weird and like.
Oh, no, I'm more and more that way.
Man, leave me alone. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. My brother laughs at me all the time. He's like, man, he's like, you can be on some kind of list. I'm like,
man, you already are on a list.
The thing that gets to me is, and I think so many people in this country forget it, or the government wants us to forget it, but they work for us. Our government is of the people, by the people, and for the people. And in so many ways, they want the perception is that no, we're under their thumb.
Yeah.
No, it's the other way around. That's the way we were founded.
But like, how do we get it back to that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I mean, the easy answer is, well, you got to vote. You got to vote. But, well, I mean, yeah, that's easy to say. And hell, I do vote. I do not miss an election. But
yeah,
how do you? Oh man,
I think you need to run for office.
I would be glad to.
Yeah.
But that'll bring up a whole nother thing. Like I think running for office, I think you need more people. And I mean, even like myself, regular dudes.
Yeah.
Who work a real job. Like I didn't go to college to be a politician.
Yeah.
Like I got out, I got a real job, I got some real world experience. Okay, now I'm going to go into politics. I'm going to, give however many years of my life, not 40. I'm going to go into politics for a few years.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, compensate a politician a little. Whatever. Something reasonable.
Yeah.
And then get them out. Like, the whole career politician should have never been a thing. Like, I don't think that was ever an intent. Politics should not be a career. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could, and just the whole idea that our government, and it's, we've almost gone down the rabbit hole so far, and I guess rabbit hole's the right term, but just gone down this road so far, like, how do you reverse it? Like,
that's what I don't know. I don't know. Aside from like literally bloodshed, I don't know how you reverse it at this point.
Well, and that's like I do not want there to be bloodshed, but whether you call it the left versus the right or the rural urban divide, I feel like we're growing closer and closer to there having to be a split.
Yeah.
Now, does it happen in 5 years or 500 years? I don't know. Like I could see it not, it may take a long, long time, long after we're gone before it happens.
Yeah.
But I'm not naive enough to think that just because we're the United States and we've been the United States for 250 years, that we're going to continue to be the United States. Like history, world history tells us no.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we're going the way.
Come and go,
I was gonna say, and we're going the way of Rome, essentially. Like that's kind of how Rome got super liberal, and then just all of their base foundation essentially collapsed, and like that's really the way that we're headed. Like I've talked to other guests before how used to you could at least unify under the American flag here. Now, even the flag is like a symbol of racism to people.
I was in Denver, Colorado, which is a liberal cesspool. I'm trying to remember what year it was.
Were you smoking a doobie?
I was not. If I went back today, I don't know that I wouldn't. But, which is weird. It's like, like they're totally like anti-government when it comes to shit like that. But
yeah,
it's such a weird, like, I don't know. But basically, long story short, I was sitting in a bar. I'm trying to remember what year it was. I remember my wife was still, one of our kids was like, had just been born. I think it was our first one. May have been the second one, which would have been, no, it would have had to been our first one. This would have been like 2015.
Yeah.
Anyway, or 2014. Anyway, we were there for a convention. I was sitting at a bar in the middle of the day because I wasn't sitting through some stupid ass veterinary meeting. That's a whole nother rant on government and making you do stupid shit every year to keep your license up. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I don't even know how we got on the subject, but I was talking to the bartender, and he said somebody he had in there the other day, just their credit card had an American flag on it. Like, I guess it was one of those where you could like personalize it. And he was like, look, man, he's like, I'm gonna go ahead and warn you. he's like, you need to be careful where you go around here and use that, because like that will be like people will be offended by that and will use that against you.
That's
spit in your
ridiculous.
food or whatever over American flag. But it was also, as we were sitting there, this was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday. We're like in downtown, like, nobody's really down there. Like, there's no like real business. It's, bars, there's people sitting around drinking, I guess, like tourists like me. And there's all this ruckus outside. It's kind of, I guess, similar to our Beale Street. Like, there's no, that the road outside is all just foot traffic. Like, there's no
cars really.
And it was a pro-Palestinian march, like an anti-Israel, like whatever. Like, and at the time I was like, I didn't even really fully understand the whole like Israel Palestine, like that whole like conflict. I mean, that's been going on for like what, a few thousand years.
Yeah, I was gonna say 100,000 years. Yeah.
I was like, who are these dumbasses in Denver, Colorado that are like, hell yeah, free Palestine?
Yeah. What is the difference they're making?
And it was so damn weird. And it's just like, I don't know. It goes back to like all these people, like they feel like they need to have a cause, and like they got to rise up, and
because they don't do anything. They're like, that's what I'm like. These people need a job. That's what they need.
Yeah. Because this was a weekday, middle of the afternoon. Yeah, I don't know how I got off on that. Well, but the whole American flag thing, the guy was like, it's like, be careful where you use this card.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, American flag, like the most like benign, like something that anywhere you go, that should be the last thing that would offend anyone.
Yeah, and that used to I think it did, like, or it used to, we unified around it, like even
like the flag was just everywhere, like nobody.
Yeah,
it didn't even. I would say it didn't even mean a whole lot one way or the other, because it was just like, yeah, hell yeah, like
I was just rewatching. I didn't get to finish it yet, but an old movie that I had seen a long time ago. Have you ever seen The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider?
Yes, I know I have. I don't know that I remember it.
Well, he's which Rob is a libertarian. I like Rob a lot.
No, he's one of the few Hollywood types that I'm like, okay, he is not the crazy.
It's funny that a lot of comedians are that way, but
it makes sense, except for the ones that sell out.
Yeah,
and totally like bend the knee, more or less,
like Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, Jimmy
Kimmel. But he's not even a comedian anymore. He's terrible. But in The Hot Chick, Rob Schneider changes places with the chick. I can't remember her name. She was in like Wedding Crashers. She's the redheaded chick that Owen Wilson's hooking up with in Wedding Crashers. She's also in The Notebook. She's been in a bunch of stuff, but
I've never seen The Notebook.
She's she's like the mean hot chick in this movie, and she finds these ancient earrings and she puts them in, she steals them, she puts one in and she drops the other one. Rob Schneider's robbing a gas station. He's like this dirt bag and he finds it on the ground. He puts it in and it does like this ancient curse where they swap bodies. Like she wakes up in her bed, but she's now Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
And but there's a scene in there, I thought about it when we were just talking about it. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the movie. He's like towel whipping. Oh, Anna Faris, that was married to Chris Pratt, is in there, and she's pretty funny. She was from all the scary movies.
Yeah.
And he's like chasing her with a towel, popping at her, and he kicks the bed. He stubs his toe on the bed, and he grabs his foot, and they're at this chick's house. He grabs his foot, and he goes, "Motherfoot!" And like right as he says that, it cuts to her mom, and she's like, "What is?" And because they don't even know there's a dude up there. They think it's like her friend, and the mom turns to the dad, and he's sitting there, and he's like painting this little model airplane. And she's like, "Something is wrong with your daughter." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" Like very stoically. And she's like, "She ate 6 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches today." She's her voice, like she says something else and she goes, "And look at this." And she pulls a bar of soap out and it's covered in hair. And she goes, "Look at this soap." And the guy...
This is the woman, but she's in Rob Schneider's body.
No, this is the one. This is Anna Faris's mom on there. They're at... But yeah.
Right, but Anna Faris has turned in...
It's the other chick, but she's with Anna Faris.
Right.
So,
but Rob Schneider's body is in
yes,
his house.
yes. And so the mom thinks that like all this food being, she's like, she can't figure this out.
Really, it was her friend who was in Rob Schneider's body.
Yeah. And so the mom's like, look at this bar of soap. And it is just covered in, it's pube, like black pube hairs. And she goes, what do you make of this? And he sits there and he goes, I think you need more things to do to fill out your day. And that is exactly now like how I feel about these people.
Oh yeah. Well, and all these protesters, and it doesn't matter if they're pro-Palestine or what. Like, yeah, they just have nothing. Like, they've never had anything real struggle in their lives.
Yeah.
And so they feel like, okay, yeah, I need to march for women's rights in a country that has the absolute best record of women's rights that's ever existed in the history of the planet.
Yeah.
Or I need to, protest for equality in a country that literally has more equality than probably anywhere else in the history of the planet.
If you can't get a job doing what you want to do here in this country, then you will get that job nowhere, because it is, by far. And the fact that people can protest and do these things, because that's what I've had some guests on here before that were like in the military and had been overseas, and they're like, let's see some of these people go overseas to like Iraq or somewhere and protest the leader, and then they'll just get their head chopped off.
Yeah, okay, you're a feminist. I mean, like, what rights do women not have here?
Have you seen the thing where it's like, I wish women had as many rights as firearms? And so a dude is like, okay, then we'll start requiring you to get a permit to do anything. You're going to have background. Like, he like broke down all these things.
It's like, go protest women's rights in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You think, go be gay, go protest for gay rights in Russia, or China, or I don't know, anywhere, any Muslim country. Like, yes, see where you'll get thrown off a roof.
I was gonna say, they freaking kill you.
But it's easy to protest that things are bad here, because what happens? Well, no, you get a bunch of followers on Twitter.
I was gonna say, you get the clout.
Yeah, you get to claim victimhood, but.
That's like the Greta. What's the chick's name?
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg. Now, she's not even from here, is she?
I think she's somewhere in Europe.
I'll tell you, I'm kind of glad for her, because I've used her meme of "How dare you!" Like, I've used that meme a good bit now.
Well, and like, she's been totally exploited. Like,
she has, but like, why are we supposed to care about what a 13 or 15-year-old kid has to say about climate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Like, should we, the conservatives, we need to get like Kermit the Frog to start being our like spokesperson.
Yeah, but I don't know. We live in such a weird time, and most of it, I feel like, well, you mentioned before, the soft times, or easy times lead to soft men. Like, everything is so freaking easy right now.
It is.
Like, and I don't know. I certainly a society would believe, we speak from a position of privilege, and we do. Like, I'll admit, I mean, I've never been hungry a day in my life. I mean, I say that I get hungry every day. I've never had to worry, am I going to get my next
are you going to
meal?
have food?
Am I going to have a roof over my head? I mean, I feel very safe,
Yeah.
And I don't,
I had a dude call me just a couple days ago, and we were talking, and I grow that sweet corn patch, and it's Roundup Ready corn, and I can spray it, and it's BT resistant, so the earworms don't get on there. You might find an ear every now and then, it'll have a worm in it, but typically there's no worms. And me and him were talking about that, and he said that some people had come down, I guess they were visiting or something, and they were like, they saw he had the sweet corn patch at this time, and they were like, oh, you grow some sweet corn? He said, yeah, I do. It's he said, it's really good sweet corn. And they're like, now that ain't that GMO corn, is it? And he said, yeah, it is. It's Roundup Ready and everything. I spray it. And they were like, oh Lord, and you eat that? And he said, yeah, I've been eating it for 20 years. And he said, I was eating it even before then when I was spraying chemical, and I would just eat it in the fields. and they said, well, gosh, we don't want any of that. And he said, all right, well, then I won't give you any. Like,
the whole GM thing, like genetic modification, like I know you and I have discussed this before, like natural selection is genetic modification. Like me choosing my wife and then us having children is us, like animals, like we selectively, like that is genetic modification.
Yes.
Our next generation is based on us modifying genes. And some people are like, well, that's natural genetic modification. Well, and I've talked to a mutual friend of ours who's in ag, that the whole existence of the corn plant is genetic modification. Like the Indians, because corn is a grass, and started breeding, crossbreeding species of grass until they got to one that produced this big ass seed head that we call a ear of corn. And I'll be damned.
So damn it, Sasquatch, or not Sasquatch, what was his name? Squanto?
I forget who it was that taught John Smith and all them.
Yeah, wasn't it Squanto?
I don't know.
Hell, I don't think that's right. I don't know.
See,
Boba,
now
Boba Fett.
Now we're gonna get canceled for being,
racist to the Indians, Native Americans.
Is that even racist or xenophobic? I can't keep up with everything.
I can't either.
Days.
Actually, it's
we're something for that.
We are. Did you know that actually saying
calling them Indians is probably racist.
It is. Well, that's why I said Native American.
Because we thought they were
from India.
Because dumbass Christopher Columbus thought he was in India.
Oh yeah, they're Native Americans, but I don't even know if that's correct anymore. Apparently, midget is not politically correct. Did you know that?
I'm not surprised.
See, because I was told dwarf is actually the correct, and I said that sounds worse. Dwarf sounds worse to me than midget.
I don't know. Like you just got to wait till somebody tells you what's politically correct now.
Well, someone on another podcast one time said you're supposed to call them little people, and they were like, "That's like the most demeaning thing you could call somebody."
I don't know. God, we live in such a funny ass time.
We do.
The whole like dudes competing in women's sports, in a way, and I have a daughter who plays sports, and like, which I can tell you, I mean, she's only 8. Just turned 8 last week. Shout out to her, happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
It's like, because I have thought about this. I'm like, if we showed up, because softball's her big sport right now. If we showed up to a softball tournament and another team had a boy playing, I mean, again, we're in a pretty rural, conservative part of the country.
It'd be a serious shit show out here.
Like, I don't even know that I'd want to see it. Like, it'd be like a train wreck happening out there. It'd be so uncomfortable, because I'm the type of person, like, I generally don't like seeing like conflict. Like, if two people are like about to get in a fight at the grocery store or something stupid like that, like I'm like, damn it, like I just don't even want to see this. But like it would get ugly.
Like you would want to break it up, or you just don't want to watch?
No, like I don't even want to be here.
Oh man, no, I'd be like, well, if it's about to go down,
well, like if somebody videoed it and like I was watching it like on social media, oh yeah, I'd watch the hell out of it. But like as far as actually being there, I'd be like, like I'm an anti-conflict type person.
Yeah.
But like I thought about that, I'm like, man, that would like it would not happen around here, because it would get ugly.
Yeah.
Like ugly. Like I can't even imagine how it would go down.
Yeah.
But like it's so, but because of course it's not happening to me here locally, I think it's hilarious, because again, I have a daughter who plays softball. I enjoy the hell out of watching her play. But like, let's be real, watching women's sports ain't near as fun as watching men's sports. Yeah. So we pretty much decided now the feminist has come full circle. Like the whole like, and the far right wingers are just as bad.
Oh yeah.
But the far left, they just go the full circle until they start eating themselves.
Yep.
It's like we pretty much admitted that women's sports are so unwatchable that
we've got to put some men in there.
Yeah. Let's just get some dudes in there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if we can get the WNBA to basically just be a summer version of the NBA, because I can honestly tell you, I've never watched a WNBA game.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden it was a bunch of dudes out there that just weren't quite good enough for the NBA playing basketball, basically the NBA G League turned into the WNBA.
Yeah.
I could probably catch myself watching that occasionally.
Yeah.
Well,
I tripped out.
I say that and maybe the worst of all offenders when it comes to like equality. U.S. women's soccer, hell, they're good, and I'm a big sports fan, so I like watching them play soccer. Truth of the matter is, though, they're not as much fun to watch as the men.
Well,
like they don't, and it's not it's not sexist to admit that women aren't as big, as strong, or as fast as men.
It's it's just real. It's just real. You could, if my wife was not asleep, we could go and we could ask her right now, and she would say, I mean, earlier today, she had to open a jar of pickles or something, and I had to open the jar. It was some jelly this morning, and I jokingly told her, I said, it's your
toxic masculinity injecting itself into the situation.
It is. I told her, I said, if you ever feel too independent against me, then I'm going to just go and tighten all the lids on the jars. So, I mean, it's, and that's what, like, and I say, it's not a matter of saying men are better than women. My wife, I feel pretty confident in saying it, my wife is smarter than I am. Like, she is insanely smart. I am physically superior to my wife. But that doesn't mean, like, there are a lot of things that she does way better than I do.
You're not a better human being because you can beat her in an arm wrestling.
No. Yes.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and the fact that seems to be sexist to say that is just, we live in an upside down world right now.
We do.
And again, it just goes back to, as a country, how freaking privileged we are that's the struggles we have in the year 2022.
That's what I was kind of getting at with the GMO, non-GMO. Things are good when you can be like, wait a minute, how was this food grown?
Yeah.
Because I'm not eating it if it was grown this way.
Yeah, because over the course of human history, when I, as a veterinarian, I have this, as a dog and cat veterinarian more specifically, that I go identifying myself. But I have this conversation with people all the time, like, over the course of history, dogs and cats, because obesity is a huge problem in pets these days. Like, dogs and cats had to worry a hell of a lot more about starving to death. And so within their DNA, they conserve energy. Like, it is really hard to get a pet to lose weight, because you start cutting their calories, genetically they're, like, oh shit, I'm starving. I'm 15 generations back when I'm out there, I'm a wild animal, having to catch that next mouse or that next rabbit to survive.
Yeah.
But and even globally, like even today, like so many other people have to worry about, like, it ain't what I'm going to eat or how it was grown. It was like, am I going to eat?
Well, that's like, if I guarantee you go to, like, I don't know, like Nigeria or somewhere, and you go to one of these villages and you show up with a batch full of sweet corn, and you're like, here you go, guys. I guarantee you nobody's going to come up and be like, now, wait a minute. Is this non-GMO before I eat it?
Yeah.
Like, they ain't worried about that. Now, hey, I will tell you something. I follow this guy. I want to try to get him on the podcast. He is like a alligator trainer.
An alligator trainer.
Yeah, I mean, like, he actually called an alligator and it comes to him. He's in the water, and Casper is its name.
How many fingers does he have?
And he's still got all his fingers. I know, like, because he apparently has a ton of people that are like, well, he only can do this because he's wearing a special wetsuit and has glasses. Like, he names, and so he had a video where he's like debunking all the dumb comments. And there's this.
Hold on. There were people on the internet making dumb comments.
I know, isn't that hard to believe?
Golly.
Mike Tyson just he just showed up about the. That was a prime example. I know you saw what Mike did to the dude on the airplane. Like, because Mike had already even said previously, we live in an age where people don't get punched in the face.
Well, and I think, at least in the court of public opinion based on social media, I've yet to see anybody say that he acted inappropriately.
Everybody's on Mike's side.
Because you see, like, the after pictures of the other guy, I'm like,
he's kind of being an idiot still.
Well, I'm like, well, the after pictures, like, he don't even look that bad. I'm like,
no,
like,
considering
he took punches from maybe, arguably, at least in his prime, man with the most lethal punch on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude, you're lucky. Like,
yeah, and
like that dude is a perfect example of byproduct of social media.
But then he pressed charges on Mike. I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah, I doubt that goes anywhere, even in California or wherever it was.
Yeah, I hope it don't. But I say all that to say, anyways, this guy, he has ruffled feathers talking about dogs. And you were talking about the kind of generations. It made me think about it. Because he commented on a Nature is Metal post, where the dog is like standing there and the alligator comes up and bites it. Did you see it and pulls it in the water?
Yeah, they reshared that video recently, but that's an old video from several years ago. Yeah.
Well, he commented on there and it had a ton of likes. It may have even been pinned. I can't remember. And it was this long comment about how dumb dogs are now. And he said that it's actually humans' faults that they're so dumb. Like he said, from a predatorial standpoint, dogs are just about the easiest prey. And he was like, I always ruffle a bunch of feathers when I say this. And he was like, and I love dogs. I have dogs. But he was like, dogs generations ago, their intention was to survive. And he was like, nowadays, that has essentially been bred out of dogs. And so he was like, so alligators love dogs because he was like, they're easy pickings. Because he was like, he said now they'll come over and if they drink out of the water and they see something that looks like an alligator, he said they start barking and stand there. And he said an alligator don't care, so it goes over and just eats them. And he said he said this is why he was like constantly when we deal with nuisance gators, we'll kill them or gut them or something. He said, and there's always a bunch of dog like collars inside where they've eaten all these dogs.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just talking about how like generation. So it's kind of funny, like our softness has even spread to our animals.
Yeah, and I mean, heck, I deal with it on a daily basis. A lot of the dogs that I probably say this dog's an idiot because it's so scared. And it's like, that's a dog that if it was thrown, take it back 500 years from or ago and toss it out there in the wild, would probably be the one that would survive because he would be skeptical of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, as opposed to the big friendly typical golden retriever that was, it's happy-go-lucky, and he'd run right up to the grizzly bear or the alligator and want to play, and he'd end up
be dead
in a pile of bear poop. But no, we're all a product of our environment, and I don't know, it's just the whole softness and where we are as a society, it just I don't know where it goes. Eventually everything's we get to a breaking point, it collapses, times get hard, and then hard times make hard men kind of thing. But what's interesting to me is like what kind of time frame are we talking about there?
That's what I wonder.
Do the good times, how much softer do we get? Because I mean, I really think it could go on for does it go on for just another 10 years and then we hit a breaking point, or does it go on for another 250 years? I mean, I could see either being true, and we just get so freaking soft because we're.
Phew, man, could you imagine how much softer we'd get over a 200-year time span?
It's just, as a country, there's so much wealth here.
Yeah.
And things are just so freaking easy, and not to say that there aren't hungry people even in this country, but for the most part, like none of us, we don't have to worry about that. Are we going to get to eat or even what, we don't not only choose what are we going to eat, but how was it grown? And, is it to our liking? And we'll hit a breaking point at some point. I'm not convinced it'll be in my lifetime. But at the same time, I'm ready. Or I say I'm ready. I feel like, I have one eye on that possibility, all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Well, that's a good way to segue into something we were talking about before we started recording. That was taxes. Now I know this is kind of we've called it the American Farmer episode, but we have really not talked very much farming, but you're getting the perspectives from two farmers. You're learning farmers are very anti-government, but aside from that, the taxes,
except for all the ones that are on the government tit.
Yes, and which is quite a few. What did I guess I need to give a good shout out. If you're on here, we run Talk Dirt to Me, because I alluded to it saying Bobby Lee's here every week. Talk Dirt to Me podcast. That's our other project that we do. It's an agriculture podcast. It is as unedited as this podcast, but we talk strictly agriculture and
mostly agriculture.
Yeah.
We can get off on a tangent every now and then.
True, we do go. We'll chase a rabbit sometimes, but it's typically an hour or less. Definitely ask you to check it out. If you enjoy Living Fully Loaded, there's a good chance you would enjoy Talk Dirt to Me. Now, it does. Sometimes we go pretty deep into ag where you'd probably have to be interested in it. But I have a lot of people that are like, have nothing to do with farming that are always like, man, I'm fascinated, like, to learn some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, check it out. And Bobby Lee, hey, if you haven't listened to the other American Farmers, who runs Hurricane Creek Farms YouTube channel, and it's doing pretty dang good now.
Yeah, YouTube's such an odd.
You're catching up with Millennial Farmer.
Yeah, I'm like, a little over a million subscribers or so behind him, but maybe 1.5 million. I don't know. I don't know what he's up to these days. But,
but it has grown. I actually meant to look and see when you were on here last, because I'm gonna say it's probably been close to a year.
I'm trying to think. I think it was the first time I was on with you.
Had you just started the YouTube channel?
I can't even remember. YouTube's kind of, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's not, I mean, all social medias are different, but you need like one or two videos to take off. And like, I had one video kind of took off, but it was when I was so small, it really didn't, I don't want to say it didn't matter. Like, I did pick up some subscribers from that. And I had another one take off just like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
But really, like, my channel grew like kind of exponentially, and I'm still tiny, like, in the grand scheme of things. But,
well, you're approaching, what are you getting close to, 5,000 subscribers?
I'm between 4 and 5.
Somewhere that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, and it's so weird because, like, whenever you have that one video that hits the algorithm or whatever and starts kind of catching steam, and I don't know that I would say going viral, but kind of going viral, it's like then it's like everything is pushing traffic to you, and it's like, oh God, I really need to capitalize on this. I need to keep putting stuff out. And it's just, I don't know, it's hard to recreate that. And it's just like that one video that took off. It was just, and it's like a lot of things, like it was something that it wasn't a good situation on the farm, but that makes good content.
Yeah.
I wasn't even planning on videoing anything that day. And two, YouTube is kind of weird. And it's kind of the thing I like about it. Like, that video took off like a month or 6 weeks after I posted it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
so
sitting
it's still,
there.
Yeah.
And so, compared to other social medias, it is nice because everything you post has a chance of taking off
even later dates.
Months later, either, where it's not just like on Twitter or Instagram, whatever, you put something out there and poof, it's gone.
Yeah.
A day later.
Well,
more or less. I mean, it's still there, but.
Well, y'all definitely, I encourage you to check it out, Hurricane Creek Farms, and then I have finally been active again on LH Farms.
Yeah, I've encouraged you. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we just show basic stuff and all.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my core audience like that, they like that, because I have a lot of the same people that, they chime in on every video. Hey, it's cool. And the people, as fewer and fewer people are involved in agriculture, but we still have a lot of people that are just a generation or two removed. And so they, even though they never farmed, maybe even their parents didn't farm, their grandparents did.
Yeah.
Or they had a great uncle that did, or whatever. And so, I don't know. My whole goal with it was, there's so much misinformation out there about everything. And certainly ag gets stones thrown at it, whether it's crops and genetically modified crops or
cow farts.
Of course, animal agriculture gets, of course, the animal rights
you
people
inhumane bastards, you.
Yeah, we're totally just abusing animals on a daily basis. That's the most way to be, or that's the most profitable thing you can do as somebody raising animals
beat the hell out of them.
Be inhumane to them nonstop. Yeah,
makes for grade A quality beef. If you
Yeah.
beat the hell out of them every day.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that do go check those out. So you can learn more of the deep ag stuff on Hurricane Creek Farms YouTube. Talk Dirt to Me. It's on YouTube as well. And LH Farms on YouTube as well. So, but taxes. So, tell you something. I got to looking this up because it's funny we decided to
I talk taxes. I'm gonna need to pull
get you some more of that. I paid taxes on that, so get you some more.
What do we not pay taxes on?
Well, see, and that's what I was actually gonna.
At least you only got taxed on this once.
Yeah, I know. Well, and that's what I was actually gonna. For some way, I knew me and you would be discussing taxes because a few days before this, I had actually looked up a statistic. For some reason, I was like, we're definitely going to talk some taxes. And this is not, all right, the average middle-class American in his lifetime. Now, this is not the statistic I wanted to find because I wanted to find grand total of, like, what is the average grand total a human being will spend, like an American citizen will spend on taxes? And I don't mean just like your income tax. I mean sales tax. When I go to the grocery store and I buy,
which some states don't have sales tax.
Yeah, but like I mean like anything.
The trade-off is everybody will say, well, it's because we don't have an income tax in Tennessee. That's why we pay a sales tax.
Yeah, but see, that's what I would love to know. Grand scale, but like
the average of total taxes.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot of taxes that we pay that aren't even labeled as taxes.
Yeah, you don't even notice. And see according to the stats I read, the average American citizen,
bullshit you pay to the government that really doesn't get you anything in return.
Yeah.
Or I say that. Like I fully respect the fact that they have to maintain the roadways and we need public education. And I think there's even an argument against that, potentially.
Yeah.
Because my libertarian side comes out more and more. I'm not one of those hardcore libertarians that like, we should pay no taxes. Like, no, like, I don't know. I get a little more libertarian every day, but I see the value in paying some tax.
Yeah.
But then, like, you see all this bullshit, like, that gets just, I mean, it is literally pissed away.
Well, right now, like, how much billion do they just send to Ukraine?
And you see, like, in all the money we just blew in Afghanistan for no damn good reason.
Yeah, for 20 years.
And it wasn't even just the military stuff we were doing in Afghanistan. We were propping up, like, university, like, programs. They were doing, like, it was all experimental bullshit, like at the University of Kabul. Like, like gender studies, like, it blows your mind to read, like, what? Like, you know what you could have done with that money? Like, hell, just put it back in the taxpayer's pocket or done something here domestically with it. Shit, we got how many veterans a day commit suicide?
Oh, it's crazy.
And I don't begin to know the answer to that, but like
they claim 20, isn't it 22 a day? But it's definitely probably higher than that.
And I don't know that throwing money at that fixes suicide, but like, shit, you know, you could do something with that here. I'm all for, and like, I don't know, like I believe we're all created equal, certainly, whether you're born in this country, you know, privileged, or whether you're born somewhere else. But I also believe in you take care of those closest to you first, and then go out from there. Like, if everything was perfect here, then we go to wherever else, Ukraine, and try to help them out. Which, you know, I'm not convinced that we even have a fraction of the story of what's going on over there. Like,
well, how much do you think the average person spends?
So total taxes in
a
their
lifetime,
entire lifetime.
And now I will say, I don't think that I'm pretty sure this was only like off of your income. I don't think it
only income taxes.
Yeah, like I don't think it included.
Well, I don't think that'd even be half of what you totally pay on taxes.
So what do you think? Yeah, I don't either.
So the average person, I mean, what does the average middle class American make in a year?
Oh shoot, I don't even know. Hell, I don't know. 50,000 a year?
I was going to say 50,000.
Yeah.
We live in a pretty low cost of living area. It may not be that much here. I don't know, a couple million.
See, it was 500 and something thousand.
Okay.
But like I said, that's definitely way lower than in reality.
Which I understand. Like, I speak from a position of privilege. I have a really good job. I make way more money than I ever thought I would have made. My wife has an awesome job.
Yeah.
And my wife handles all our taxes and everything. Thank God.
God, I wish mine did.
I'd have probably already gone postal, but
yeah.
But I've only been out of school for 13 years, and Lord have mercy. Yeah, I don't want to give away.
Well,
nobody. I'm like Trump. You ain't seeing my tax return.
Yeah.
But my God, that's all they pay.
That's what it was.
I think if somebody told me that, I'd say, sign me up.
Yeah.
When I get to $500,000, you mean I don't have to pay taxes anymore?
That's what it was?
Yes, sir.
But again, like I said, I want to know.
Well, here in Tennessee, we pay 10% on every effing thing we ever buy. I mean, say everything. Like vehicles aren't quite 10%.
See, and that's what I was going to say. I want to know if I go and buy the ink pen at Walmart, I want to keep up with the amount of taxes that I just spent on that ink pen, and I would like to know the the grand total. When I die and go into the ground, like I would love to just know at that point when I ain't spending another dollar, how much on there, which and something that we were talking about, and it is the tax that pisses me off beyond any tax of all taxes, and that is the damned property taxes. Like I have always said, you never actually own land in the United States.
Well, my biggest measurement of I say my biggest, but one thing, the way I kind of think of things, like when something is so freaking ridiculous that it makes no sense, and I don't know if you take 6th graders or 8th graders or whatever, but probably somewhere in that age range where they have a basic understanding of how like taxation works, and you say to them, all right, guys, you're going to buy a piece of property for $100,000, pay your taxes or whatever when you buy it, but you got cash on hand, whatever,
yeah,
you pay for it. Free and clear. Do you have to continue paying taxes on that every year? I think 99.9% of them will say, well, no.
Yeah.
No, that would make no sense.
Yeah.
Like you own it. You paid for it. Just like any other property you own.
Yeah.
Whether it's a pair of tennis shoes, a car, whatever. No. But why it's our fault for allowing that.
Yeah, for doing it.
Like, and I don't know, I mean, obviously this would be something we could look up, but like, when did property taxes start? I feel like if you went back and like found our like founding fathers, they'd be like, oh, bullshit, we ain't allowing that. Like, no. That's why we came here. You know, we left that when we left England, we left Europe. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we've been charging that since 1776.
It says, the first estate tax was enacted in 1797 in order to fund the U.S. Navy.
So we made it a little over 20 years.
It was repealed, but reinstituted over the years in response to the need to finance wars. But it says the modern estate tax
financing wars.
Yep, and the modern estate tax as we know it was implemented in 1916. So see, that's the thing here. That one thing I'm catching. All right, they would implement it, but then take it out. And then they would implement it and then take it out.
Sure as hell don't happen no more.
No, that's what all right, so they implemented the modern estate tax as we know it in 1916, and here we are in 2022, and that shit ain't gone nowhere. So it's like, okay then. So, yeah, man, I have said many a time, I think George Washington would already be slitting some throats by now.
Well, right, and I've seen the meme, and yeah, I agree. And like the whole idea with like all these taxes and like, yeah, the government's never seen a tax they didn't like, and they've never seen one. The whole idea of a temporary tax is utter bullshit.
Yeah.
And like there are so many little ways they tax us that I don't know, my mindset is I sit back and I think back why, or I think to myself, why? Like, why do we, and like, I'll ask other people, and they're like, well, I don't know, that's the way it's been. Well, that's not a good answer for anything.
Yeah.
We've talked that on Talk Dirt to me. Like, why do we farm a certain way? Well, that's the way we've always done it. Well, that ain't a good answer. Like, that doesn't, like, a lot of the ways we've always done things have been wrong.
Well, apply that, let's apply that from like a social standpoint of like, well, you know, slavery used to be okay. So it'd be like,
oh yeah,
so should we
yeah,
keep,
Well,
hey, that's what we always
slavery's
did.
always existed. It should,
Yeah.
and well, and on that sense, slavery still does exist in this world.
Yeah.
And I mean, in certain places, and
Oh, yeah.
that just because the way it's always been done doesn't make it right. No,
Yep.
it's exactly right. It's a very good example, but it's like, I just think of all the ways, and it's like, whoa, why do I have to pay this? It's like, well, the government says you have to. Well, they work for me, right? Like, it ain't the other way around.
Yeah.
Like, and of course, okay, well, you got to vote for your policymakers, and they'll change it. And like, well, whatever, it won't see it in my lifetime, but yeah, I don't know. In some ways, because I know like the full blown hardcore libertarians are like, no, we don't even need public education. Like it should be up to us to make sure our kids get educated, and
Yeah.
and whether or not you want to, like, you can form a private school, to send your kids to and pay for it, or
I like the responsibility aspect.
Yeah, or you can homeschool your kids. Like, it shouldn't be the government's job, and you shouldn't be, and the rest of the people, because there's a lot of people that don't have kids and never will have kids that are still paying for public education.
Yeah.
And that whole, and paying for the roadways, and I don't know the full blown like libertarian stance.
They think it's privately.
Yeah,
private.
that I guess the community should come together and
Yep.
And hey,
I hear that, but I've seen what the river bottom roads look like whenever we're going to farm crops, and it's like pothole city.
Yeah, but hell, that's a county maintained road.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like, when the county don't get down there, nobody else gets down there. So I mean, I don't know. And maybe they have the mindset of, well, the county's got to take care of it. Maybe if they didn't,
or maybe that mindset is this will keep some of the shenanigans that goes on in the river bottom.
We definitely do think that. Like, when we're farming down there, we are kind of like, well, let the roads be shitty.
Yeah,
like that.
Hell, we can get down with full-wheel drive tractor.
Yeah,
no problem.
Nobody's gonna come down here because it never fails, man. We meet like a Honda Accord down there,
like riding river bottoms.
Yeah,
which I don't know. I don't know.
So maybe if they were blowing a tire out like on a pothole, because I don't even like them down there, because I've been on a tree down there deer hunting before, and somebody started shooting like an AK-47 into the ditch up there off the road, and they were in a little car. And I'm in a tree along the ditch.
Because I was going to argue, well, those people probably aren't raising too much hell down there. But
no, they're just shooting at people down there.
I figured they were just smoking meth or something. They're probably smoking meth and shooting.
I was going to say, that's probably a combination. Yeah. They might be shotgunning the meth from the AK-47.
Yeah.
Can you shotgun meth?
I am not aware of how all the ways to do meth. I would assume. I've always heard people say smoking meth. That's why I use that term.
I mean, I've seen like the old...
Can you snort it?
I don't know. Breaking Bad. I've only seen like 4 episodes of Breaking Bad.
Well, no, and I was a Breaking Bad fan. I watched all of it. Which of course TV. Is it real?
Do they snort it on
one of the crazy Mexican dudes, like he snorts it off a knife blade there at one point. So
I guess you can snort it.
Okay. So, yeah, that's the homework we'll have for our listeners.
How to do meth.
How do you do meth? Is it just smoking and snorting?
Yeah.
I'd imagine there's other ways to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I know like I think shrooms, they drink a tea. I've heard of people boiling the tea and drinking it.
Well, you just eat them. You just ingest it. I guess whether you eat it or drink the tea.
I gotta say, I'm sorry to say to my listeners, I have basically zero knowledge on how to do drugs, so I can't really. Yeah. We talked some good bourbon there at the beginning. Yeah. That's about where my stimulants go to. It's going to be alcohol.
Well, alcohol's a depressant, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, but meth. Well, meth is probably an upper. I bet that is an upper.
No, meth is absolutely.
That's what the Nazis were on.
Yeah,
they were on like speed.
Oh shit! What's the one everybody takes? Adderall. That's an amphetamine.
I heard that was actually, they were talking about it the other day. That's like one step below crystal meth.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's shit. I'm a big proponent, or like, I think probably 3/4 of the people that are prescribed that don't really have a shit. You could probably argue that none of them really need it. Like, it's like the whole thing, which I guess you don't hear about it ever anymore, like little kids. But when I was in school, like, it was Adderall and Ritalin, which I don't even know what the difference is.
I don't either.
I'm like, yeah, he's got ADD. You got to give him these drugs. Well, like, maybe he just needs his ass whipped.
Yeah.
Maybe he just had a little harder, more trouble. And I think nowadays that's widely accepted. Like, yeah, we shouldn't have been putting all these kids on amphetamines.
Yeah.
We're basically sedating them or whatever. Or
making them like a zombie.
Focus. Yeah, like making
Yeah.
them focus. Oh shit, I know plenty of people who would like weren't diagnosed at all, but which was almost stupid because you could just go to the doctor and tell them, oh, I have trouble paying attention at school, and you get diagnosed, but would buy Adderall to use it for studying.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing that.
Shit, I took it once or twice, and it was, I never liked it but it did make it easy to focus. Like
really?
I could see where like.
So you can feel the difference?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was like you were zoned in. Now you had to be careful because if like you didn't want to go down a rabbit hole on something else.
Because you would zone in on it? Dude, so like YouTube would have been dangerous?
It made studying easy. I never did like it though. I did it a handful of times.
Snort it. Crush it up and snort it.
Snort it. Now actually we would dissolve it and then inject it
up our
rectum.
Yes. Butt chugging it.
Just kidding. No.
I was just thinking the spoon. I figured y'all were melting it and then injecting it in your vein, but you went to another level there.
I don't know.
The sphincter is supposed to be rapid ingestion.
As far as me surviving the incident, I don't know that I'd want to inject it. Yeah.
Oh man,
oral ingestion. If you're gonna do it, I'm not recommending anybody try it off label. But yeah, like I had a friend that like he was like he had a side chick that had like a prescription for it, and
he'd take him some Adderall.
He'd go buy a few pills from her. I was like, yeah. No, it's like it and like yeah, it didn't like you would forget the stuff. Like yeah, it was a performance enhancing drug. I mean, it was like, but just for. Instead of it being for able to hit home runs or
for studying
or run faster or jump higher, like for Olympic athletes, it just made it easier to focus.
Dang.
But it's definitely a stimulant because if you took it at night, you weren't going to sleep.
Yeah, you'd be up.
Especially, I guess, if you weren't used to it. I guess maybe these kids, they hop up on it all the time.
That ain't nothing to it.
Yeah, tolerance to it, but.
Well, that's what they said. It's like meth. It's very close to meth, and
well, I've never done meth, so I can't compare it. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't for me.
Well, I know you haven't seen the film, but it's also a lot of these things remind me of scenes in films. And there's this movie. It's called Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No, but you've asked me about it before.
Well, it's it's a parody of Walk the Line.
Walk the Line, yeah, the Johnny Cash story.
Yeah, and so there's one of the best parts. Well, it's kind of throughout the film. Dewey Cox is like a pretty straight-laced guy, and he goes into the bathroom.
So you've described this scene to me before.
Well, it's like the best, man, because his band members are in the bathroom. He opens the door, and I was thinking about it because I think it begins with marijuana, and then it becomes progressively harder drugs every single time. But the first time he walks in there and they're like smoking weed, and Dewey's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing in here?" And it was one of the black guys off of Saturday Night Live. Can't remember his name, but he's like, "Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit." And Dewey's like, "What is it?" And he goes, "It's marijuana." And he's like, "Well, what's it do?" "It takes all your bad feelings and turns them into good feelings." And he goes, "Is it addictive?" "It's not addictive." And he goes, "It must be expensive." "It's the cheapest drug there is." Like it goes like that for several times. And Dewey's finally like, "I think I do want a part of that shit." And then he like goes in and gets addicted to it or whatever, gets on it. And it like every time, like I can't remember the next level, but it'd be like they're doing cocaine and he's like, "What are y'all doing in here?" And so like it just keeps going. But like that's what I think about. It made me think of that scene, but I don't know, man. Like I actually just shared a thing recently kind of making fun of prescription drugs. It was talking about the side effects. It'll be like vomiting, diarrhea, a lot of times death. It'll be because Jeff Foxworthy was one of them where he's like anal seepage. And he said, "Hell, I'll just have dry and itchy eyes." Like, it was like a for itchy ass, and he's like anal seepage. He's like or sudden death. Like, so I mean that's where like they're marijuana's legal now. I honestly,
in some places,
yeah,
hell, I think it should be.
I do too. But why aren't they legalizing? All right, hold on, because did they federally legalize it or is it still illegal federally?
I do not know. I know there was something going on recently. Like I literally like we do not have TV in my house. Like we turn on the TV, we got the smart TV. It's YouTube.
Yeah. Well, that's how we are.
Of course, the streaming services, but like we don't like if somebody's not sharing something funny, like in a meme,
that's where I get my news.
Yeah, I don't know that it happened.
Yeah,
like the whole like Twitter thing being bought by Elon today. I was like, did it really happen? Because I know it's been like he made the offer.
Yeah,
and thankfully it finally did come through in enough memes. I was like, okay, it did happen.
The stocks.
I never because I was ready to get on the internet and like go to an actual news website. And I'm proud to say did not even do that because I don't even want to. I mean, I hate to act like I do care what's going on in other parts of the world somewhat, but like people ask me all the time, "Do you see that?" No.
Yeah.
Like I was unaware of that. Like, and my life is just
no different for the
hell in Drummond's, Tennessee. We really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, like who murdered somebody wherever. Like I mean, I feel bad like on a human level, but like I don't need that. Like I don't need to hear that.
Oh man, yeah, I see that. Like people share a thing and like somebody's going, and it sounds cold, but it'll be like somebody that I don't know at all, never spoke to, never met, don't have any interaction with, like don't know them whatsoever. And somebody will share that their spouse cheated on them or something. Like it's something bad. And I'm like, I don't even know this person. Like I've never met this human being in my life. Like
it's like even when they're like rioting, like here in the U.S. in some cities, and like it's easy to get drawn into that. Like you're like, blue lives matter, black lives. Like no, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Either side, like fuck them all. Like no, like. But that's what we were talking about earlier about the whole things that years ago you could say, and like the American flag was like, yeah, like okay, you've got an American flag, yeah, big freaking deal. Like all lives matter. Like there's nothing more benign you could possibly ever say than all lives matter.
Yeah,
like,
but now
you see like there was a spoof like, cartoon where it was talking, and it was like a time traveler went back to like the 80s or whatever, and he was visiting like a KKK rally. He's like, all right, now the racist thing to say is all lives matter. But like all the 80s KKK guys were like, no, they don't. No, that's terrible. We can't admit that all lives matter. He's like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, that's
in the year 2020, all you have to do is say all lives matter, and that is racist.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what kind of world do we live in now?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
so then the way we could tie this back with farming then, are farmers anti-government?
I think on the whole, absolutely. They want to act like they are because we're generally come from conservative communities, but you give any of them truth serum, farmers aren't dumb. Like they are not dumb. I don't want them, but I feel like there's so many of them that are like, well, yeah, we need less government in our lives,
but give us that subsidy check.
But yeah, we gotta have our payments.
Yeah,
we need these programs, and I don't know. Like I can see both sides of the coin on some of that stuff. Like the more and more, because we talked dirt to me a lot recently about conservation, and I think the more I see like the NRCS, they do have some total BS programs that I don't. And maybe 20 years from now, I'll look back and be like, actually, that program made some sense. Where, you can get cost sharing funding for all kinds of crazy stuff. And, do they have any business? Is it their job? Is it the government's job to be doing that? I don't know. Because I do look at, like this land is going to be here long after we're gone.
Yeah.
So you could have some bad actors in the community, and you do, that, they're going to, basically rape the ground, whatever. Not take care of it, because they ain't gonna have to worry about it. We're only here for such a finite period of time. But I don't know. As a whole, yeah, I think deep down now that farmers need the government. Like farmers, in many ways, are the biggest leeches when it comes to bleeding off these programs and whatnot. And I don't know. It's a crutch for a lot of them to lean on because it was like the big auto companies are too big to fail. Like you get these big operators and they're so insulated by all these programs, like they get to where they're too big to fail. Like,
well, that's you had told me about that. Was it Jason Malk?
Yeah,
Jason Malk, the mad scientist or whatever, on Vance Crowe, another podcast. Is he ag or does he do other stuff besides ag?
Vance is like he'll do anything, but his roots are kind of ag.
Okay, well that's what I was thinking.
I think most of his audience, based on the way he talks, are folks like us.
Gotcha.
I mean, he talks to people around the globe about all sorts of things involving society.
Well, that Vance Crowe's podcast, it's a good one. I advise you guys to check it out after you check out Talk Dirt to Me and stuff, of course. But he had a guy on, Jason Malk, and he's like into the regenerative ag stuff, which is something I've been really fascinated by. But I was listening for the regenerative ag talk, but then he said something that really, man, it caught me. He talked about the mega farms and these big guys. I mean, he said the exact same thing. Like, it's like you get so big that you're getting, and actually my next YouTube video is going to be about this because I don't have shit else to do. So it's going to be like a rant because I can't show some cool footage because it's too wet to do anything. So we woke up to thunderstorms again this morning. We did. Way more rain than I thought we were going to get today. But these big guys, I mean, talk dirt to me. I'm very open about the fact that I'm not a fan of big farmers. And I say that I have friends that are big farmers, but like my question is, can you like honestly look at yourself and say, because I don't question that they love ag, but can you honestly look at what you're doing and say, I am furthering agriculture as a whole, or am I hurting it? And like, well, I think it needs to be able to stay as a family farm. Like some of them, they just get so big and so they're
big
a corporation,
so big, and then once like you look at what happens when you're gone, like where does that go? Do you have multiple a generation behind you or two generations behind you? They're going to be able to carry it on and keep it as a family farm, or does it turn into a corporate farming entity? And because I don't know, on one hand, as free market capitalist, I want people to be able to get as big as they can, and the American dream, but you don't want that to be propped up by the government. You get so big, and because in a total free market where the government's not involved, you have the natural checks and balances there.
That's what Jason was saying. Like between crop insurance, we have great crop insurance these days, but it is like 75% subsidized by the government. And I mean, Lord have mercy. You think about what a guy working 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 acres would spend a year on crop insurance if it was not subsidized by the government. I mean, there'd be a lot of them that would be like, I don't know if I can make crop insurance pencil out. And if they didn't, and they had a bad year, they would be toast because they got so much expenses.
Well, and that would be kind of natural selection.
Yeah.
Either making them downsize or go bankrupt and start over as a small farmer.
Yeah.
And break that up and just disperse it out amongst.
But like you said, now you can't. You can't fail.
You get so big that they will not let you fail. And see, that's been a problem in on the animal agriculture side of things. I say obviously, I don't know about our listeners, but like pork and chicken are gone. Like they are totally corporate, completely vertically integrated. Like it's gone. Like there are no family pork farms or chicken farms anymore. Cattle, they're wanting to go that way. We have 4 meat packers in this country that process beef cattle that control 85% of the market, and they are very much that. Like that, they are so big and they're so insulated by everything that props them up, all the government, and it's all the regulatory burden that prevents
the smaller
guys from even, because there are, I mean, 15% is made up of God knows how many hundreds of smaller, like regional size meat packers.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can never even, like the odds of any of there being a fifth to get to that level is so incredibly small, just because, yeah, they have all these regulations that, hey, they're great whenever you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has, 250 lawyers on staff, to sift through all that BS. But yeah, when you're a regional, outfit that's still pretty big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't compete with that.
Well, see, and I don't know, I'm sure it's probably a lot of the same in the animal world as well, like the animal farming, but, I don't know what the average age of like a cattleman is, but the average age of a farmer in general, it says, is about 60 now, and it's been steadily going up.
I think that number would include crop or cattle or.
And it's probably the same. I'm gonna say it's the same whether you're in row crop or you're in cattle or any of them. Like it's
not an enticing industry to get into. I mean, it is. It's romanticized in a lot of ways, and hell, I mean, because like we've talked about here, like farming's not my primary job. Like I do it, as far as the cattle for a lot of reasons, but hell, I'll be the first to admit, like it is romantic. Like hell, I want to be John Wayne, or John Dutton, hell, whoever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I don't know. I love it in a lot of ways, but some of it is, it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of it, you too,
Oh yeah,
driving a 300 horsepower tractor is cool as shit. Like
it is.
I mean, yeah, you like getting your hands out there and like putting them in the dirt and seeing the corn grow too. But big machinery is cool.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, when people brag about a Ferrari, I'm like, hey, come check out this thing. This thing's more expensive than a Ferrari over here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, and I get that, man, and but like. The challenge, and I just talked and actually it's a guy I need to tell you, I think we want to have him on Talk Dirt to me. I talked to him just the other day. We had actually talked about him before. He's a farmer in Iowa. You can probably put that together on who it is, but he said he'd come on Talk Dirt to me, and we were talking about the same thing, in which he said that they're a little bit imbalanced better because he said they got a lot of pasture ground that could not become row crop ground where he is. So he said it kind of keeps some of the big guys at bay. But they have the same problem there. Like, there's this thing, like, I mean, I work about 1,200 acres, and I actually make a pretty good living working 1,200 acres. And I mean, I pay rent. I pay notes on my farms. I have equipment notes. Like, it ain't like everything. Like, I'm paying notes, and I'm still making a pretty good living doing what I do. So there's this weird thing out here, like, because you see some of these operations, they'll work like 20,000 acres, and it'll be like 3 or 4 families living on it. And people will be like, well, there's multiple people on the family. And I'm like, hell, I make a good living. I'm working 1,000 acres. You mean these bastards got to have like 5,000 acres apiece to make a decent living? What kind of damn lifestyle are these bastards living?
Well, see, where I'll push back on you a little bit is you're only 30 years old.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be 31 here in about 2 weeks?
Soon, yeah. Yeah, about 2 weeks, yeah.
So you're only half the age of an average farmer.
I know, yeah. I'm an anomaly.
When you get to the average age, how many acres do you think you'll be at?
I will say here,
I'm not tooting your horn for you, but you're only 30 years old and you're working 1,200 acres.
Well, I see, and I'll say it on air.
We need to timestamp this.
I was going to say, you
and I need to come back. If I'm still alive in 30 years, because hell, I'll be damn near 70.
Well, I'll come. Hey, if we could timestamp, because I have said it many times. 2,000 acres is as big as I want to be.
Because I would not, like, I hope you're working 8,000 or 10,000 acres by then.
See, I hope I'm not.
You might hope you're not,
Yeah.
But in a way I look at it, you could have you I don't know how many employees you'd need. I mean, hell, shit.
10,000
30 years
acres,
from
yeah.
now, hell,
Probably be all
your twins
automatic.
will be what, 34 then?
Yeah, that'd be
So
weird.
that means
Yeah,
hell, they might both be farming with you.
and it'll all be done by like a remote control at that point, anyways.
Yeah, that's right. You'll be spraying with the drone and
Yeah,
um, whatever. But uh, hell, I would think 10, 12,000 acres if like both your kids are farming with you, and I mean, hell, maybe neither one of your kids wants to farm, whatever.
yeah,
But still, I think you could do that in a way, when you're employing, I don't know, a dozen people
yeah.
in the local community. And I think it would be rare, but you could set it up. Say neither one of your kids wants to farm. They're living in Midtown Memphis.
Oh Lord.
Just what you've got in mind.
Yeah,
They're both working in finance or something.
yeah,
But anyway, and then you could set it up, and because I see people who do this, and I think they are the anomaly where, you don't have anybody you're necessarily going to pass it on to, and you've got some of your employees, your farm hands that want to farm, and you're kind of setting them up.
yeah.
How they start out, they got 20 acres, that's theirs this year. I think there is a way you can do it and set it up where, you're not just passing it on to when you retire, or some other 40,000 acre growers coming in and scooping up all your ground.
And that's typically how it goes.
Well,
Another big guy just gets it. And what I would say too in that case is like, farming is to me, it's too much of this fraternity at this point. It's like an elite fraternity
where nobody new can get in.
Nobody new can get in because of that stuff. And that's where, like, my issue with the big farmers is that they've forgotten what it's like to be small farmers. Like, that's what I have always said. Like, a lot of these big guys, I
could see that, because where you're so happy to get in and then be a big guy, you're just happy to be one of the big guys, and you don't
gotta, and you want to be,
remember where you came from.
Yeah.
Well, and I I've talked about this. I don't know if it was on part 2 of the American Farmer, or maybe it was on Talk Dirt to Me.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Where I've heard people, especially in other parts of the country, where land prices, especially for good farmland, are even getting more ridiculous than they are around here.
Yeah.
Where they think that could be one of the big corrections in returning things to more smaller outfits, because as land prices just get so ridiculous, the farmers aren't going to be, nobody's going to be able to afford to own big chunks of land, which I think one of the problems now is a lot of the farmland is not owned by farmers.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting statistic. What percentage of farmland
is owned by farmers?
Owned by the operators?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know
that's one there ought to be. I bet USDA or somebody has a statistic for that.
But wasn't there a thing that said 13% of farmers control 75% of the acreage?
You had a figure, something like that, one time. Which I'd be interested still to know, because control is one.
Oh yeah, they may not.
That just means they're working it.
Yeah.
But I wonder, because there's lots of operators. Because I know I talked to my dad about it, and because we'll be talking about Farmer Joe. Like wow, they look like they do really good, and they don't work that much ground. And my dad a lot of times will say, but they own
a bunch of ground,
almost all of the ground they work. And so obviously, they're not having to pay rent or whatever. And maybe it was generational land, so it's already paid for.
Yeah.
Except for those goddamn property taxes. But
yeah,
they have to pay every damn year, no matter what. But
yep.
Anyway, I do think, when the farmer actually owns the ground, and hey, I don't want anybody to not be able to invest in farmland, because, Bill Gates, I think he should not be able to anymore. But man, there was something else about that. I saw somebody had shared something, and I couldn't watch it or whatever when I saw it on social media.
Was it what I shared today?
It may have
the
been
mRNA vaccines. He's trying to put it into the crops.
Was it a woman that was talking about it?
Yeah.
Whenever I was watching it, I couldn't really listen to it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like everything on social media,
this is gone.
Once I closed my phone and then opened my phone back up, it was
Kip,
like dust in the wind.
Kip Fulks had shared that on Instagram. He's been for some reason he was in a farming rabbit hole this morning. But that's I've had him on here. and he shared that, and I watched it, and it's pretty wild. Yeah, basically he was saying Bill Gates wants to. There's this conspiracy that Bill Gates wants to basically implant these vaccines into the food that we eat because he's buying a ton of farmland. So if he could implant these mRNA vaccines into the food we eat, people will ingest them without even really knowing it, and they'll be vaccinated.
My garden just got bigger.
Yeah. Well, see,
I already, all my meat is already home raised.
There you go.
Hell, I'm either going all carnivore and just eating all my own meat, or I'm only going to eat my own vegetables that I grow.
Well, somebody's listening. They're like, that sounds like horse shit. Now, I'll tell you something about Kip. Kip was the co-founder of Under Armour. I mean, billion-dollar corporation. Kip has been at the upper echelon of finances. He has shook hands with, like, top dogs in the world of money. And when he was on the show, you know, I mentioned something about conspiracy theories, and he was like, I can tell you right now, conspiracy theories a lot of times are real. He was like, when you get to the level of money and power that these people are up to, he said, there is some serious conspiracies going on. And he was like, and they ain't theories, they're happening.
Well, and see, and I don't remember when you had him on your show, but it was pretty early on.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I say your show, the show we're on right now. I feel like conspiracy theories in the last, I guess we're at 2 years now, because it's April 2022, so we're 2 years post, like 2 weeks to flatten the curve, all that bullshit. Yeah. We're pretty much, like, it is wild to think about the stuff just in the last 2 years, stuff that was, oh, you can't say that, that's conspiracy, to 2 months later, it's like, well, that might be true. To a month later, it's like, okay, yeah, now everybody admits that was true.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's like everything. Like, you think of the wildest conspiracy, and like, yeah, it's all, you know. I mean, I'm not a flat earther or, you know, anything like that, or I'm not a 9/11 truther or any of those sorts of things. But, like, you couldn't, like, for you to say that, like, the vaccine might not be that effective was not.
Oh, yeah, you better not say that.
Like, you would get canceled in a heartbeat.
Now
everybody's like, yeah, the vaccine really doesn't work that well.
Yeah. I've seen some of I was going through looking at something. I can't remember. I was looking at one of my podcast stuff online, and one of my episodes had a COVID warning or something on there, which I wasn't surprised to see that, but it kind of tripped me out a little bit. It had like a COVID misinformation label or something on there.
COVID, like, I don't know. We live in, it's so much damn propaganda. Like, it's like it came and went. And I argue, again, for context, we're in a rural conservative area that, I mean, it was never as
scary here.
As big right. I mean, like,
I was surprised at the amount of people that wore masks around here.
Well, even because we were under a mask mandate at one point.
Yeah.
And there was still never, ever, ever a point in time when you would go to the grocery store and everybody was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time when most people were wearing a mask, but we're now at a point in time where, like, when you see somebody wearing a mask, it's like, whoa. Like there are many days when I go through an entire day, and people may think I'm crazy because I work in a very public setting.
Yeah.
When, like, now it's weird, like, when somebody's wearing a mask, like, oh, like, you're wearing a mask.
You're scared.
And like, I don't care. Like, shit, wear whatever you want to. I give zero damns about what you wear anywhere.
But I guarantee you they're vaccinated.
Still, it's like it's kind of like I get reminded. It's like, oh, yeah, like, shit, we did have that COVID thing going on, didn't we?
Yeah.
But
it's like, those people, I bet you money, every person that you'd see now wearing a mask is vaccinated.
Who knows? Or maybe they can't get vaccinated for a reason. Maybe that's their reason. I don't know. And, like, whatever. Wear a mask.
I will, during the, like, heat of the mandates, it was always kind of cool because I'd go into Nafy's, like our local grocery store here, and they were, I love Nafy's. That's where I buy 99.9% of my groceries.
I give my wife 9 kinds of hell if I find any groceries in our refrigerator that are obviously from Walmart or Kroger.
Yeah, well, that's where Nafy's is where I go, and unfortunately, Nafy's was.
as a locally owned small business owner, that's who I'm going to support.
Yep. They were forced under the mandate. I mean, like everybody else around here, we were mandated, but I just didn't wear a mask in there.
No, I don't know that there was ever a point in time when more than half the people in there were wearing a mask. And like it was a mandate. Like supposedly we were like I always thought it was awesome because like I know half of our local police officers like personally.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be in there and like they would not be wearing a mask. And I'm not trying to call like no, I mean like we all knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was like it was not that it was bullshit like
could
the mask have prevented you from spreading somewhat? Yeah. Like I won't argue that. But we all knew it was theater. Like it was always theater. Like you saw all the videos. Like it'd be like all the public officials would be together and they wouldn't have their mask on.
And the cameras.
And like somebody would be like filming them with their phone. And then like the actual lights and the cameras would come up and everybody would slap their mask on real quick.
Yeah.
Like, no, it was all about control.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I said. It was funny when you'd go through the grocery store and there would be like a couple reactions. You know, you'd kind of get some people that kind of look at you and they'd kind of you could tell they were kind of judging you for not wearing a mask. And then the other one, you'd see like a dude that's probably around the same age as you, similar age. He'd have a mask on, he'd look at you and he'd almost have like a look of defeat. Like he's like, man.
But then you'd have the other people that wouldn't have a mask on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then it's like a nod. You're like,
give you a nod.
Like if the shit went down, you would not report me to the Gestapo.
It's like the hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. Yep. We would be okay. We'd be in this together. So yeah, it was interesting, but farming, that was one good thing, man. Farming was relatively unimpacted from the mandates because I mean, hell, we're social distancing by what we do on a daily basis. But yeah, I don't know, man. We like I said, we did not get heavily into the farming as much, but you got to hear the farmers rant. I guess that'd be the...
Yeah, I don't know. If you want to hear the farming,
talk dirt to me.
We'll be right back here in about 48 hours or so.
Yep.
Recording again. But I don't know. Wild times. Like these last 2 years, it just, I don't know, that's the popular thing to say, but it's like how quickly we go from one thing to the next. And like literally, and I know in some parts of the country it may not be like this, but it's like you can literally go through a whole day here and kind of forget COVID was ever a thing.
Oh yeah.
Like we went from like nobody had ever heard of COVID. Like nobody ever wore, like the idea of wearing a mask was like so damn foreign to us.
Yeah.
To within just a few weeks time, like, no, you had to wear a mask everywhere you went. Like restaurants were closed the F down. Like the government told businesses you're not allowed to open. Like, and the fact that we just allowed, we were like, okay.
Did you see where I think that Ian like won? I think he won his court battle. That Ian Smith.
I actually bought one of their shirts. Like I have really respected what they are going for. Which I know, like he's running for office now.
He's a cloud chaser.
Yeah, it's kind of it gets to the point where it's kind of like, it's kind of fake. But
he got on my nerves because he was like, it felt like at some point he was actually seeking confrontation all the time.
Yeah, and it's like I totally respect, like nobody, which I was, and I'm not trying to sound like a Billy Badass here or nothing, but like my parents, my brother, my business partners. Like, oh, no, we got to do these things and these things. Because, like, if somebody tests positive, this was like in the very early stages, like, they're going to shut us down.
Yeah.
I was like, who is going to shut us down?
Yeah.
Like, if we're like worried, like, if we have an employee test positive, they'll make us shut the whole place down. I was like, who? Like, who is going to show up at my door and chain it shut? Because I dare them. In this part of the country, that would not, and I don't think it would have happened.
I don't either.
I'm like, who is going to physically come to our doors? Now they might say, hey, y'all had a positive test here, and maybe people will just refuse to come here.
Yeah,
that's fine. But like, you're gonna physically show up on my private property and tell me I can't have my doors open to provide a service to people that are willingly coming in my doors? Like, good luck. Like, because that is a hill I will die on.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that so many people just rolled over and let them do that to them.
Watching the videos, there was one. Canada really, they got slaughtered by it, like Trudeau and all them, that idiot. But there was a video of a dude in Canada, and they had they had chained the doors on his, which they did that here in the U.S. So, I don't want to act like it's just Canada. But they had chained his doors, and the whole time I was watching it, I'm just thinking, I'd be like, all right, guys. And I'd let them, when they drove off, I'd just go hop in my service truck, run over there. I got a torch on the back of it. I just cut the chain off, just go on, open her up like normal. And eventually I guess they did. I think they ended up arresting that guy.
Well, I know they showed like a pastor of a church that.
Oh yeah. They forcefully took him out. Yeah.
Just like, what are they going to do? Like, are they going to show up at my door and they're going to have like an armed guard, like not letting people in? Like what? Like on private property? Like they're really going to do that in Tipton County, Tennessee? Like no.
Yeah.
No. They might try to shame me into closing my doors, or they might make it a ridiculous enough scene that people don't show up.
And all you got to do though, like the way I'd look at it, if the officials really were like worried about people, like if it was truly about the people, they would just be like, there has been an exposure here, enter at your own risk.
Exactly. Well, that was my whole thing. The government's role in this whole thing should have been, look, here's this virus. Here's what we know about it. Yeah. We recommend this.
Yeah.
But it ain't our job to tell our citizens how to live.
Yeah.
These are the risks. Do your thing. The most dangerous thing any of us do every day, and I will stand by this, is we strap ourselves in a plastic box partially made out of metal and drive at speeds that humans were never meant to travel at.
Yeah.
Down roads that are half-ass maintained and covered in ice at times.
Do you strap yourself in?
I do most of the time.
Yeah.
By my own free will. I got me a $30 ticket for that one day. I won't say what other violations I may or may not have been occurring, and I should have been more pissed off at that guy for writing me a seatbelt ticket, because I ain't hurting nobody by not having my seatbelt on, but myself potentially.
There's only one instance
where he could have got me for a few other things, and he didn't, and so I was kind of happy to pay that.
Cut him a little slack,
but still, it's a $30 effing tax. Like for me, not wearing my who gives a damn? Like, go write, fat asses. You got to be standing at McDonald's, and every obese person orders some fries. Write them a ticket, because they're harming themselves.
They are. Yeah, their health. Yeah.
They're putting themselves at more risk than me driving in a 20-mile-an-hour speed zone 2 miles up the road without my seatbelt on.
Yeah.
They're a hell of a lot more likely to die of heart disease than I am to die of a car wreck going 20 miles an hour. Even after I just said the most dangerous thing I do every day is drive a car. But he pulled me over literally in a spot where the speed is 20 miles an hour. Their speed limit is 20, and I would have been doing under that because it was traffic. And so, ran over.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, that's like the only instance. And maybe we've been thinking about this all wrong. Maybe they are protecting other people, because what if we hit head on and your body launches out and hits me into my car, and then you kill me?
That is the only way to spin that. It's like, what do they care? Like, the government does not care about me or you individually.
No,
they do not.
No,
but they like cashing that $30 ticket,
and then the court costs. Like that's what I
think on this one I just had to pay a $30 ticket.
Really?
Like I was like,
Marcy is. Well, let's see, maybe not. Well, I can't remember if it was me or her, but we got the red light tickets. Okay. The camera.
So this is different. And actually, another guest you've had on this podcast, I won't mention their name. I don't know if they saw me get pulled over, but they were ranting to me about it. They're like, that son of a bitch.
Really?
They're like, that's all he does. Which it made sense afterwards.
Was it the state trooper?
Yes, the state trooper. They're like, all he does is write seatbelt tickets. Like, that's all he does.
He's got stickers on his car about him, don't he?
I don't even know. I was a little bit hot when he pulled me over. But then he didn't nail me for some other stuff he could have. And I was like, well, first of all, I don't know why he didn't. Like, it's been so damn easy. But they're like, when I was talking to somebody a few days later, like, no, like that is his thing. Like, Like he writes seatbelt tickets.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, then he even has like won awards.
Yeah, no,
for it.
No, it had to be the same guy because I'm sure we're talking the same people.
Yeah.
In a small town, but they're like, no, like that's his thing. Like he writes, which it what got me, and I'm sure hell that's what he does. He's really damn good at spotting people without seatbelts. But I'm a big Tennessee Vols fan. I remember I was wearing an orange shirt that day.
So it was bright.
So bright shirt. Of course, your seatbelt is like what, dark green or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's blatantly obvious I didn't have my seatbelt across my chest. And like I think you should wear your seatbelt. I'm gonna sit here and tell you, folks, y'all wear your seatbelts. But
by your own free will.
Yeah, I was leaving my office. And I drove to Nafy's. Actually, I was sitting in Nafy's parking lot. We're getting Nafy's all kinds of shout outs.
Yeah, they are.
As he wrote me the ticket. And like literally, it may be a speed limit about 30 at one point, but it's like 20. It's like we're in the middle of freaking downtown Munford, which it's not a sprawling metropolis or anything, but I mean, there's lots of traffic in downtown, middle of the afternoon. And
yeah.
I was like, yeah, like even in my 20-year-old Jeep that is clearly not the safest vehicle to be traveling in. At 20 miles an hour, I'm pretty convinced I could survive just about any crash.
Yeah, man, I have told Marcy that the day that I get pulled over for a seatbelt is going to be bad because the big C will be coming out in me. Like I'll be honest, I do not wear a seatbelt very often. Very, very rarely do I wear a seatbelt because my service truck, I have deactivated the like
well,
thing.
See, and it's because as somebody who cares about you, I would say wear it, man. Like wear it because you care about yourself and your kids. But
well, and that's what Marcy. She's like, just wear your damn seatbelt.
Well, you know people that have died in car wrecks. I do too. And like hell, if you're riding just up the road,
yeah,
like I admit I don't. You do more dangerous shit on the farm every day than drive down the road.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
even though I just said a few minutes ago the most dangerous thing we did is drive down the road in a car. Well, I'm talking about like at highway speeds.
Yeah. Well,
and you think about that, how foreign that is. You go back 100 years ago, and you tell people
imagine a carriage doing like 80.
You're going to travel at 65 miles an hour on a daily basis and not even think twice about it.
Yeah.
And have a safety mechanism and not even use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. People would be like, "No way, man."
Yeah.
Not me.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I mean, we just get used to it. I mean,
yeah.
We just.
Well, that's how. Like it's there. I'll be honest. At this point, it's being hard-headed because of the damn state. The state troopers are actually endangering my life because I won't wear one now half the time because of the sons of bitches. I'm like, I ain't putting on a damn seatbelt because of these bastards. Like. Yeah. If I had one on, I'd take it off if I met a state trooper. Like I have literally took a seatbelt off.
You're trying.
Like and now in my service truck, the windows are very dark. Like I never wear it in my service truck. I actually can't tell you a time that I've ever worn it in my service truck.
See, I have 0 tint on my windows.
Well, my service truck, the windows are like 5%, and I've even got a strip across the windshield. And so, like, I meet state troopers all the time, and I never have a seatbelt on, and I'm always like, like laughing. And so now, again, I always have to add this caveat in here because I've had some cops on here. I'm not a cop hater. I'm just the state troopers. I'm irritated because I'm like, isn't there something a little more damn important you could be doing than worrying about my dumb ass seatbelt?
And that's where,
and it's not really about safety. That's the thing.
That's where the whole, like, obviously, I mean, if you listen to us for 5 minutes, you know. We're probably not Black Lives Matter type people like that. That's a totally racist. They give 0 shits about Black lives.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. But I think the whole Blue Lives Matter bullshit is just as stupid. Like cops can do no wrong. Like, no, actually, yeah. And half the shit you see on these stuff in TV, they're in the wrong. But yeah. It just. The whole thing where like you got to be on one side or you got to be on the other, like no. Like I'm. You probably gotten the hint from this. This will be the anti-government episode. Like, well, and shit. The the police are the government goons in a lot of situations. Like,
Yeah.
And I respect, because I know a lot of police officers that are like this. Like they recognize like some of these laws are just stupid, and they're not gonna enforce them. You know, like they might write a ticket for something if somebody's being a total asshole about it.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, they don't give a shit about. Like they weren't arresting people for not wearing a mask and stupid stuff like that. Which I don't know if they ever even had the authority to do that, at least not around here. But yeah, there are some that are just dumbasses. And
well, like you said, it'll take the cops, because at the end of the day, and it's just like anything. I mean, like we've said, I mean, there's some serious crap bags in farming. And I mean, they're in every industry, you know, you said before, in the veterinary industry. I mean, in the police, that just makes sense. It's society. There's going to be dirt bags in any industry. But like what it's going to ultimately take is the good cops are going to have to they're going to have to eventually be like, look, man, we took an oath to defend the Constitution. Like, you know, the Constitution is our guide, I guess. So this thing here is unconstitutional. Like,
and shit, I would argue we got a bunch of freaking laws that are unconstitutional.
I would too, yeah. I mean,
that's why in another life I'd like to be a lawyer that challenged laws that I think, because I think we have, my God, we could do an entire shit. You could write novels.
Oh yeah, on all laws.
But there's books on laws that we have on the books that that is not. Like, well, who the hell thought this was a good idea?
Yeah.
But
anyway, as we draw near here, I got to tell you about a product that I saw today.
Okay.
This was like the most innovative mole killer I've ever seen.
Okay. I didn't know which direction this was going.
Well, that's what I figured. We're probably getting close to the end of the line here. We're getting near 2 hours, so we'll start to call it. But
I got to haul 2 steers to the processor here in about 6 hours. So
there you go. You'll be well rested. I was at a farm store today, and I was looking at some different, because moles bad out here. My dog, he'll dig them up. I've seen him dig them up, and he'll actually kill them sometimes. He's killed a few of them. But I honestly was like, am I seeing it right? There is a thing you can buy, and it slides over your exhaust pipe, and you screw a water hose on it, and you run it over, and you stick it into their run.
Carbon monoxide.
And it kills them by carbon monoxide. I was like, that is, like, I'm not offended by it, but I'm like, man, that just seems, and it's like harmlessly puts them to sleep. Or I can't remember how it
I've
worded
always
it.
heard like dying by carbon monoxide is very peaceful.
Yeah, don't you like? I think they say you just kind of go to sleep,
and so people like to commit suicide that way.
Yeah,
I don't know how safe it would be for you to stay in the vehicle while you were doing that. Because what if you had?
It did advise you to not get in. It was like, and it said to have the vehicle like in an open area.
I can't believe they would even be allowed. Because I don't fully, like, I know, like, if you run a vehicle in a garage, but if you stop up the tailpipe, even if you're like not parked in a garage, can the carbon monoxide back up into the vehicle and kill you?
I don't know.
Like, even if you're out in open air?
Yeah.
Because I'd be worried, like, obviously you hook that onto your exhaust pipe and then you shove it under the ground.
Well, see, and I don't know
what if the end of it is plugged, like you shove it into the ground?
It may have, I wonder, it might have like vents or something on it. I didn't really look at it a whole lot.
Still, I would think the lawyers for whoever that company is had to be sweating bullets. They're like, yeah, we'll allow y'all to sell this.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like,
because I can see so many things going wrong.
Well, and somebody would probably use it to kill themselves. Like I could almost see somebody being like, that'd work perfect. And they'd go home and like slip it over their pipe and run a hose into their own car.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess they could do that with.
But what if they don't have a garage? You know, maybe they're like, well, I don't have a garage. It's cheaper than building a garage.
I guess maybe you could argue they were too dumb to figure out how to do it otherwise. But yeah, I feel like if you really want to kill yourself with carbon monoxide, you can do it whether you've got that device or not.
Yeah. Well, it was a very, I was like, man, that's unique. Like, you know, the guy that made that, he obviously like heard of somebody killing himself by exhaust and was like, moles.
Yeah. I can see where it could work. I mean,
yeah, it showed
that'd be my preferred method. But
it showed drawings on there of like the fumes going towards a little mole.
Just get you a good dog.
Yeah, Bear digs them up out here, man. He'll dig them up. Be holes all in the yard where he's dug them up, but he'll dig them up.
Yeah.
Well, where can people go check out what you're doing?
Well, like you mentioned, YouTube is probably where we're the most active. Hurricane Creek Farms. Same thing, Hurricane Creek Farms on Instagram. Of course, the big news today with Twitter. I deleted my Twitter back in 2020 whenever Twitter refused to allow you to talk about it wasn't even you, it was when the New York Post posted the story about the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah.
They like totally censored that. Like the oldest newspaper in the U.S., like a legitimate media outlet, would not let them share that story because obviously it was like just a few days before the election. I deleted my Twitter. I was like, screw it. Free speech is dead. I'm gone. So Elon bought them today because I guess we're recording this, a day or two before you drop it. So I guess I really reactivated because I like totally deleted my actual @ handle or whatever, which is Vol DVM, just VOL DVM. Obviously, just for Tennessee, Vols, and then DVM.
Veterinary medicine.
Dr. Veterinary Medicine, yeah. Nobody had snatched that name up in the last year and a half or whatever. So
there you go.
So I'm back on there. Like I have as of when we recorded, I have 3 followers.
Yeah, nice.
My wife being one of them. That's okay. But yeah, so YouTube's where I'm the most active by far. Just do a little, I don't know what you call it. Is it vlogging what I do?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, probably.
Somebody called it that and it's like, is that what I do, really? Well, I guess maybe that is the most active.
It sounds kind of gay when you put it that way, but yeah.
Well, I'm vlogging. I carry around a GoPro camera a couple of times a week, and then I put the videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's basically what I do.
Yeah. Well, go check it out. Guys, like I said, this one, we didn't talk very much farming at all. This one, it was a very anti-government rant, but that's okay. So if you want to hear the ag talk with a little anti-government rant sprinkled in, then check out Talk Dirt to Me. TalkDirtPodcast.com is where you can hear it. And guys, also, if you watch this, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a rating and a review, and also share it with your friends. So, guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Yep.